Welcome to Catholic News World.
Welcome to Catholic News World. Please subscribe to our channel. My name is Steph. Here are this week's breaking news headlines.
United Nations experts call on the international community to prevent genocide against the Palestinian people. Grave violations committed by Israel against Palestinians in the aftermath of October 7th, particularly in Gaza, point to a genocide in the making, UN experts said. They illustrated evidence of increasing genocidal incitement, overt intent to destroy the Palestinian people under occupation, loud calls for a second Nakba in Gaza and the rest of the occupied Palestinian territory, and the use of powerful weaponry with inherently indiscriminate impacts, resulting in a colossal death toll and destruction of life-sustaining infrastructure. Many of us already raised the alarm about the risk of genocide in Gaza, the experts said. We are deeply disturbed by the failure of governments to heed our call and to achieve an immediate ceasefire. We are also profoundly concerned about the support of certain governments for Israel's strategy of warfare against the besieged population of Gaza, and the failure of the international system to mobilize to prevent genocide, they said. The bombardment and siege of Gaza have reportedly killed over 14,000 people, injured more than 27,000 and displaced 1.6 million persons since October 7, 2023, while thousands are still under the rubble. Of those killed, about 41% are children and 25% are women. On average, one child is killed and 2 are injured every 10 minutes during the war, turning Gaza into a graveyard for children, according to the UN Secretary General. Almost 200 medics, 102 UN staff, 41 journalists, frontline and human rights defenders have also been killed, while dozens of families over 5 generations have been wiped out. This occurs amidst Israel's tightening of its 16-year unlawful blockade of Gaza, which has prevented people from escaping and left them without food, water, medicine, and fuel for weeks now, despite international appeals to provide access for critical humanitarian aid. As we previously said, intentional starvation amounts to a war crime, the experts said. They noted that half of the civilian infrastructure in Gaza has been destroyed, including more than 40,000 housing units, as well as hospitals, schools, mosques, bakeries, water pipes, sewage and electricity networks, in a way that threatens to make the continuation of Palestinian life in Gaza impossible. The reality in Gaza, with its unbearable pain and trauma on the survivors, is a catastrophe of enormous proportions, the experts said. Such egregious violations cannot be justified in the name of self-defense after attacks by Hamas on October 7, which we have condemned in the strongest possible terms, the experts said. Israel remains the occupying power in the occupied Palestinian territory, which also includes the Gaza Strip, and therefore cannot wage a war against the population under its belligerent occupation, they said. In order to be legitimate, Israel's response must be strictly within the framework of international humanitarian law, the UN experts said. The presence of underground tunnels in parts of Gaza does not eliminate the civilian status of individuals and infrastructure that cannot be directly targeted nor suffer disproportionately, they said. The experts also raised the alarm about the escalation of violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, by soldiers and armed settlers. Chris Slattery, a pro-life hero, has died on November 22 after a long struggle with cancer. He established a network of pregnancy help centers in New York. He was 68 years old and died at Calvary Hospice in Bronx, New York, USA. Chris gave the operation he founded in 1984, EMC Frontline, formerly Expectant Mother Care, to Compass Care Pregnancy Services under the directorship of Reverend James Harden. On the EMC Frontline page he wrote, "We learned that providing free resources is critical, like ultrasounds, helpful education resources, and compassionate counselors who share hope and help. That's what makes the difference for vulnerable families and at-risk youth. We're averaging 2.5 saves a day now. We've saved tens of thousands of babies, and it all started with that one on a plaza in front of an office building on Park Avenue, 40 years ago." EMC's website claims it has saved 43,000 lives since its founding in 1984. 1,200 poor people joined Pope Francis to eat a free lunch at the Vatican. Pope Francis joined the 1,200 guests in the Paul VI Hall to share Sunday lunch with them on the occasion of World Day of the Poor. Pope Francis joined the guests after he finished his Sunday Angelus, for a lunch that transformed the hall into a large and unique restaurant for the customary annual lunch with Pope Francis on the World Day of the Poor. The Pope began the lunch with a blessing when he thanked the Lord for this moment of friendship, all together, for the meal, and for those who prepared it. The tables were adorned with white and yellow flowers, offered a colorful backdrop for images capturing an unforgettable moment of welcome, concern, care, and love for all those who for the rest of the year live on the streets. The Dicastery for the Service of Charity organized the event, while Hilton Hotels offered the lunch, dedicating special attention to the menu so that the meal could be enjoyed by people of various faith backgrounds present. On the menu were cannelloni with Roman ricotta and spinach with a Parmigiano Reggiano sauce, sautéed white meatballs with a veloute of San Marzano tomatoes and basil with a cauliflower puree, followed by tiramisu and small pastry desserts. At the end of his meal, the Pope thanked all those for making the lunch possible and for creating a festive atmosphere. Michael Voris, as founder and former president of St. Michael's Media, formerly Real Catholic TV, a controversial media outlet he founded, on the website Church Militant, has stepped down from the organization. In November 2023, Voris was asked to resign as president by the board of directors, due to Voris breaching the Church Militant morality clause. Voris confirmed his resignation on his personal X account. The website has accused the U.S. Catholic bishops, USCCB, of not being Catholic. Prominent Church Militant journalist Christine Niles, who has worked for the company since 2014, posted her own video as well, in which she announced her own departure from Church Militant on November 10th. She was a senior producer and investigative reporter at Church Militant. Niles said early in the video, "If you are hoping that I'll divulge private details about this breach of the morality clause, that's not happening." She did, however, explain that she had seen Voris undergo changes recently. There were lots of troubling things over the past year, but especially over the past several months, about the direction in which Church Militant was heading and some of the decisions that Voris was making, and quite frankly, his personality change. He is not the man that I came to work for in 2014. Quite frankly, the lack of prayer with the staff, and that is something that I will reveal, that Voris basically had not been praying with the staff for about 2 years, and that right there is a massive warning. A statement was released by Church Militant. Church Militant, Michael's Media was founded as a bastion of Catholic truth and a light to the faithful in hard times. This is why we are being fully transparent with you all. Michael Voris has been asked to resign for breaching the Church Militant morality clause. The board has accepted his resignation. We understand this is a shock to you all, but our founder and former CEO is stepping aside and focusing on his personal health. The board of directors has chosen not to disclose Michael's private matters to the public. The apostolate will be praying for him, and we kindly ask you to do the same.
Watch our programme every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Catholic News World channel. God bless.
Please subscribe to Catholic News World's YouTube channel. Thanks and God bless.